Hi everyone, it's Lucy from My Crazy Craft Life, and I'm here today with the December 2019 Flavor of the Month card kit from Scrapping for Less. This month's theme is Sending Love, and as you can see there, all of the different things and the ingredients in there. So you have the option of buying the double dip sundae ingredients or the banana split level. The banana split level includes, outside of the 4 collections and the cardstock that you receive with the double dip sundae, you get the Love die by Scrapping for Less, which is a really nice size die. I really like it. Sentiments of the Heart stamp set from Scrapping for Less. Adhesive foam squares by Scrapbook Adhesives. And Sequin Mix by Scrapping for Less. So that's the extra stuff that you get there. So for this first card, I'm going to be using collection number 1, and I'm using sketch number 1. I started off by stamping the cute little dog there from the Puppy Hugs and Kisses stamp set by Scrapping for Less with some Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and then I'm using Copic markers to color him up. With collection number 1, you receive Puppy Hugs and Kisses paper by Scrapping for Less, the stamp set, Enamel Dots by Gina Marie Designs, Puppy Pails Odds and Ends by Doodlebug Designs, and XO Ribbon by Hair Bow Boutique. So once I finish that up, I cut out the circle, or I use the same paper and I just cut it out of a circle out of it. It's about 2 3/8 inch circle. Then I'm going to use a card base that I cut down from the cardstock that I received, and I'm cutting that to an A2 size card, which is 5.5 by 4 1/4. Then I cut a back panel to 3 1/4 inches by 4 1/2. The banner that's going down behind the circle is 4 inches by 1 inch. I took one of the sentiments and I cut it in half because I wanted a long sentiment instead of one that was on top of each other. And the sentiment strip is 2 3/4 inches by 1/2 inch. And then the little piece on top is 1.5 inches by 1/2 inch. I took the enamel dots out of actually one of the other collections because I wanted them to be red, and the ones that came with this collection, for me at least, were kind of a fuchsia color pink, and I just didn't think that quite matched with this theme of the red and the lighter pink. So I just followed the sketch from there on, kind of layered everything up and popped everything in there. And that is pretty much it for this first card. So the cardstocks you receive with this kit are 100-pound high-quality colored cardstock. You're going to receive 1 sheet of each in blue raspberry, pink lemonade, wild cherry, night shift blue, chocolate, and snow cone. You also will receive 2 sheets of Neenah 110-pound Classic Crest Smooth Solar White, and 4 A2 size envelopes. So my second card, I am using kit or collection number 2 with sketch number 3. And for this one, since on my sneak peek I used almost pretty much every stamp collection that's in the kit, for this one I decided to use that Love die, and like I said, I really like the size of it. It's a good size to kind of be the focal point on a card. But the papers and whatnot are from collection number 2, and in collection number 2 you receive Would You Be Mine paper by Scrapping for Less, Would You Be Mine stamp set by Scrapping for Less, Heart Wood Pieces by Laura's Crafts, Enamel Dots by Gina Marie Designs, and Love Stickers. So you kind of see all of those. Those enamel dots I use, they're heart-shaped. Those are kind of really cute. So this one I cut down, and I'm doing it so that it's a horizontal card instead of a vertical card, but I used the same type of design for it. And again, it's an A2 size card. I cut down the 2 pieces. I measured everything up and I didn't do what I did for the layer. They are 5.5 inches long, both of the back panels, and The one piece is 2.5 inches, and since this is 4 1/4 card, the other one is 1 3/4 inches. And then the back panel for the square or for the rectangle is 4 inches by 2 3/4. The front rectangle is 3.5 by 2 1/4 inches, and then the banner is 3 inches by 1.5 inches. And that finishes that up for that card. My next card, I am using collection number 4 with sketch number 3, and this includes Happy Mail paper by Scrapping for Less, Snail Mail stamp set by Sunny Studio Stamps, Enamel Dots by Gina Marie Designs, Sprinkles Enamel Shapes by Doodlebug Designs, and Heart Brads by Creative Expressions. Now for this, I used the stamp set and I stamped it out. I stamped a bunch of the envelopes because I thought those were super cute. I was having trouble my grays. I don't know if I left it open, but my my one cool gray color was all my dark one right there, and it just wasn't working right, and it ended up kind of getting kind of screwy, and I had to refill them and change the nibs, and that was kind of a project. But I got back into the coloring of this, and I showed you all the Copic colors that I used. Again, I stamped it with the Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and then like I said, I'm just going to cover this up. I do use my scan and cut to cut out all of these images once I am done coloring all of them. And then for this, the sizes that I used, again, an A2 sized card. The back panel I cut down to 4 inches by 5 1/4, so it's the entire panel, or I mean, so that there's a border around the card base itself. Then the sentiment strip is 5 1/4 inches by 1/2 inch. The squares that are in there, the back square is 2-inch square, and the top square is 1 3/4 inches. And then the strip on top is 1/4 inch by 5 1/4, and then the kind of scalloped edge, I actually used, I pulled out my old Fiskar scissors to cut out that scalloped edge, and that's about 1/4 inch I cut it down to, and then just popped it on there. And that is pretty much it for this card once I kind of stick everything together. And then I just make a little scene with the snail looking up at the mailbox and all of the mail falling out of it. I thought it was kind of cute. I put this whole panel together, and then I kind of popped it on top of the card. I used the light blue, which I'm thinking is probably the snow cone or the blue raspberry blue for the card base, because I just thought between that and then I used some blue paper on there. But I love the little snail looking up. I think he's adorable. So I do pop the square up with some of the adhesive squares that come with the banana split level, and then I also pop up the envelopes that I put on the side where it kind of looks like there's some type of embellishment, and so I used the colored stamped images themselves to do that. And then that, like I said, is pretty much it. I like the sentiment I used. It says, "You make my heart smile." I thought that was super cute. And then I just, like I said, I kind of place everything around trying to figure out exactly where I wanted everything and what I wanted to do with it. Since I did not stamp this first and I added the popped up images with the foam tape, or from the foam tape, I decided to use the mini Misty to put the sentiment on to make sure that I got a good solid image. I didn't want it getting messed up. And then after I put glue on the little envelope, I was like, wait, I wanted to pop that up. I kind of forgot I wanted to pop it up until I was doing it. So that's it for my third card. My fourth card, I am using collection number 3 with sketch number 4. I heat emboss this stamp, and then I heat embossed the sentiment inside of the stamp. I really liked how simple and kind of elegant this stamp is, and it's just the heart, the hands holding the heart, and I just thought it was kind of really beautiful. So I used the dark blue paper instead of, just using white cardstock and stamping it and coloring it. I decided to use the blue paper and then heat emboss it with the gold, and I thought that was a good contrast, and it really kind of made it stand out. So once I finished that up, I decided I was going to heat emboss that side first, and then I was going to put the sentiment in there and then heat emboss it again and hope for the best, but it turned out okay. But for this, the dimensions are, again, it's an A2 size card, so it's 5.5 by 4.25. The back panel is 5.25 inches by 4 inches. The panel that's underneath the oval is 3.25 inches by 3 inches, and then the strip behind the rectangle is 4 inches by 1 inches. Then the oval itself is 3.5 inches by 3 inches. And then I just kind of follow along with the sketch again to create that. And this, a lot of this, especially with following, I go back and forth. I do like to follow sketches, especially if you're in kind of a creative slump. Sketches are kind of nice to use because you can follow them pretty easily, make something really cute, and then kind of feel better about things and able to move on, I guess. But I also like to make interactive cards a lot, so it's kind of hard to do when you're following sketches. But that's also a kind of a challenge, I guess, to follow a sketch while making an interactive card outside of just a general shaker card or something. But I did pop up that oval with the adhesive foam squares that came with the banana split level kit, and then I used a couple of the sequins out of the sequin pack that came with the banana split level up on the top, the very top across, and then the very bottom across, just to put on a couple of those. Now, all of the adhesive other than the foam squares that I'm using is art glitter glue that is in that small bottle that I'm using around on all of these. I have so much of all of it, I have to start using it. And tape runners are so much easier, but I decided I really need to start using some of my other adhesives that I have to get rid of it, so that's why I'm going to be trying to really use some of those, most of those, for a while. So like I said, here is my sneak peek, and like I said, I pretty much used almost every stamp set that came with this kit. So that was the snail mail stamp by Sunny Studio. I pulled out the wood, or the tree trunk from Would You Be Mine, and then the bird flying. I used the little dog in this one that's carrying the little letter. I thought he was so cute. And on the sneak peek, somebody put that it looks like it's his tongue sticking out from the letter, and I never realized that, but it really does. It's really kind of cute. And then, like I said, I used the birds and some of the hearts, and then the sentiment I used from the sentiment stamp, so I just kind of jumped around all around. Those are all of the colors I used for the coloring. I colored them, obviously, with some Copic markers there. And there was no fancy coloring with this. I just wanted to kind of get the color down, give it a little bit of shading in a few areas, but there, like I said, there was nothing fancy with any of this. And then I again use my scan and cut to cut out all of these images. I don't think I had said what was part of collection number 3. You had Oh My Heart by Scrapping for Less paper, Friends of the Heart stamp set by Scrapping for Less, Glossy Hearts by Pink and Main, Arrow Stencil by Scrapping for Less, and Fabric Flowers by Doris. And in this I also end up using the Arrow Stencil as part of the grass I kind of did. It was, like I said, a real collaboration of all the different kits, and to kind of be able to use them together with all the same theme I thought was really cute. And then to be able to create the whole scene. With this, I used some of the Sprinkles Enamel Shapes by Doodlebug Designs. I had suns and some clouds, so I thought it was kind of perfect with this outdoor scene. I used white paper to create the hillside, and I used Distress Oxide on just some white paper. And I used the colors Lucky Clover and Peeled Paint, and I used the Lucky Clover for the base of it, and then I put the stencil over and used the peeled paint, and it gave it some dimension, but it wasn't exactly what I was looking for, but I thought it came out okay once I was kind of finished to give it that dimension. I think when I went over it the second time after I did the stenciling is what I kind of didn't like. I think I should have left it how it was instead of going over it, because I think I would have liked that better, but live and learn, right? So for the background of this, I just used one of the paper patterns that was a light blue with white hearts, and I thought that was really cute. Kind of reminded me of like clouds throughout the sky with the little white hearts. So here's when I create that, and I just created my own hillsides. I cut them out with scissors, just no rhyme or reason, just kind of going through. I did make this a little bit long because I wanted to make sure that I had enough to be able to cover it. And then I cut one section off, and then I just did it on the next section, and then just layered those up. I used the adhesive squares that came with the banana split level again to pop up the front panel of the grass to give it a little bit more dimension. And then I was able just to kind of create my scene from there, from that outdoor scene. And there are those sprinkles that I used. I did use my tape runner here. Like I said, it's hard. It's hard to go and use not use a tape runner when it's just so much easier than using liquid glues and score tapes and all of that. But I just have so much. I really need to use a lot of that stuff. So I did put a little bit of the Lucky Clover. I wasn't worried about it looking any certain way because it was going to be covered up, but I just didn't want the white blaring out of it, which is why I did it that way, so that when you kind of looked from the side, it wasn't just white sticking out underneath that green, and it was a little bit more cohesive. And then I just kind of decided where I wanted all my placements and what I wanted to do, and I thought it was cute to kind of show everybody going to the mailbox to drop off their mail, and then to see some of it that was in there. And like I said, I just thought that tree stump was really cute and just fit in well with the whole outdoor little theme of everybody marching to the mailbox to get their stuff. And then the enamel dots, like I said, because they were clouds and the sun, it just kind of all fit in perfectly with the outdoor theme and the little scene that I was creating here. And then the hearts I had that was just falling out of the mailbox, just to show, it was just filled with love, and falling out of the mailbox was just because it was so stuffed with love. And then the sentiment I used from the sentiment stamp, and it just says Happy Valentine's Day, so that's really simple. So that's pretty much it for this card. Once I finish up stamping, I do stamp my sentiments with VersaFine black onyx ink, because it gives a much crisper, cleaner stamp, I think, than like the Memento. The Memento is great for Copics because it doesn't bleed or anything, whereas the VersaFine will. This I also stamped a sentiment on the inside, just to kind of finish off that card. A lot of times I like to write my sentiments inside or write my notes inside to people, but this one I just thought was cute. And I was just kind of stamping that off to make sure that it was going to stamp well, since I didn't want to screw the card up after I put all that work into it. So that's it. Those are all my cards. I hope you enjoyed the video. Stop over at Scrapping for Less and check out a few other videos that we have here. Thank you for stopping by, and I hope everyone has a great day. Take care.